And I love it when the sax player stands up with his eyes closed behind his dark glasses and loses himself in the music he's creating. The string of notes that fall from his horn, taking me to places that transcend time and space. And it's no longer me sitting at a table in a club in a city on earth, but I become a free floating soul, attached to nothing, yet connected to everything. Because the truth is, I'm just an ordinary man with normal human interests. For example, I like to take a drive along the coast, stop at a roadside inn, have a few, and strike up a conversation with a cripple sitting at the end of the bar, talking about the difficulties of life, how life throws us lemons, and they'll never add up to anything you can really drink. They're just sour little yellow turds. And I'll ask him, was he born this way, or did something happen to him? And how did he get here? Did someone drive him, or does he have one of those vehicles operated entirely by hand? And I'll ask him if he lives alone or in a facility for handicapped people, and how does he make a living? Does he receive benefits from the government, or does he go to work? And then I'll tell him about some of my problems. Although, of course, compared to his, well, they seem trivial. The fact that I'm lonely, that I drink too much, that I've had a very painful childhood, well, that can't compare to what he's been through. I mean, when someone sees me, they can't tell that I'm injured inside. But one look at him, and you know he's suffered. Although, in some respects, I'm a cripple too. You wouldn't know by looking at me, but I have more problems than you can imagine. And I'll say to him, we all suffer because we're human. Some of us suffer physically, and some of us suffer emotionally. And sometimes I wonder, would I rather be physically deformed or emotionally deformed? I mean, maybe in a way, I'm more deformed than you are. Maybe I've had a harder road to hoe than you've had. Maybe my path is more tortured. Maybe my load heavier. Maybe what's inside me is harder for me to bear than what's outside you. Usually, at this point, the cripple and I will get into an argument. He'll say, "What's the matter with you? Are you out of your fucking mind? I was sitting quietly drinking a beer, watching a ball game, and you come over here and have the audacity to suggest that you suffer more than I do? When I can't even get off this bar stool to take a piss? Jesus Christ. Either you have a sick sense of humor or you are totally insane." So I'd like to go back to watching the ball game and drinking my beer, and why don't you take your perfect body and go sit somewhere else? Am I the navigator or the drowned man, or a microbe on a grain of sand, while palm trees sway along the shore? And did you get my letter slipped under your door? By the time you read it, with pebbles in my mouth, I'll be dead, while you dance all night, your lunar face and rosewood neck, blown inside out by the wind. And I'll pour myself a drink and try not to think of Christ on my tongue and the ways I have sinned. I'm not a stink monkey in threadbare raiment and worn footwear, suspended in brine on the beach in Samaria, my flesh and blood to slay upon the altar, and make straight what is bent, and plain things smooth. So, take this blemished offering, for the hour is late, and the last bottle broken.